Hi, this is John Reed of johnerp.com. This is part of my ongoing video on SAP solution providers and success as a third-party SAP consultancy or software solutions firm. Last night I did a workshop locally on freemium business models and basically looking at how companies can use the power of free in the digital age to build their businesses. And that's a very interesting question, and it's one that applies heavily, I think, in the SAP world. And there's a lot of opportunity there that folks aren't taking advantage of. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm kind of winging it on this video, but I hope I can give you a few things, and then maybe I can continue this after I review my notes next time. But one thing to think about with free is, first of all, you never want to forget the actual business that you're in. Some folks I talk to, they say, well, someone at the workshop was going to put out a book, and they started thinking about the money they could make from the book. They weren't an SAP services firm, but their products were also pretty lucrative along the same lines as landing a pretty big SAP deal. Well, that's really the business you're in. You're not in the book business. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to charge for the book as well. In the world of free, the more powerful your free material is, the more visibility it's going to get. And that's one of the really important lessons, because a lot of people jump on social networks thinking that's going to get them visibility and traction. But it really doesn't, unless they have something to share, something of real value. And if you've read Chris Anderson's book on free, the future of a radical price or what have you, one of the things that comes out of that book that I think is worthy of emphasis is that when you give stuff away for free and you want it to be effective, it really does have to be a takeaway, like a real high quality experience for the customer, which is sometimes counterintuitive. It's like, well, I don't really want to give that away, I want to charge for that. But what you're really trying to do is you're building loyalty by giving something of value freely. Preferably it's a digital product, because that's where the economies of scale for free can really kick in. One of the interesting things about free in a software or lead generation context is that it doesn't totally have to be an all or nothing, I charge you or I give it away. For example, sometimes people really will willingly share data in order to get access to free information. And that's one of the decisions I made on johnerp.com, where I don't charge for anything, but for the full podcast archive there's a registration and a few other perks. So I do acquire registrants, which is useful data for my business, and so sometimes data gathering, which can be very valuable for lead generation, is a part of what the free model can look like. But free goes beyond that to impact your role in a community and your ability to have a community presence in a way that earns you respect and trust of others. And to me, that's the ultimate goal of creating free content. Now, of course, from a software development standpoint, free might mean giving away a free version of your software, but then having a freemium version. And that can really work well sometimes, especially if the free version actually gives something of real value and doesn't have that kind of thing of like the lights halfway on and you just get a glimpse. You really want to give people something they can take away from that. But then there could be a way to really up the ante to get even more value. So that's readily applicable to the software market as well. The catch with free is that it's all pretty labor intensive. The kind of kick-ass content and great products that make a difference in the free world are not easily conjured up. And maybe that's one reason why people are in a frenzy to jump on social networks and start tweeting and blasting links, because it's really hard work to create the kind of meaningful content that can really capture people's attention. What kind of content could that be, you might ask? Well, it could be proprietary data. You could conduct regular surveys in areas that are relevant to the interests of your particular niche in SAP. That's one thing I've seen done very effectively. Other things are you could commission white papers that you think are particularly powerful and important by thinkers you admire and respect. Webinars, I guess you could say, are a version of free. I think especially if you figure out how to archive that content and share it. And then there's the whole thing of multi-purposing that content once you've created it, but that's a whole other discussion. At any rate, once you're creating free products and free information that really resonates with people, then you're on the right track. And that gives you a marketing advantage that a lot of companies just flat out don't have. And you'd be amazed how few solutions providers in the SAP landscape have really given this much thought. It's really kind of wide open. And I'm always struck by how well the companies that have really learned this lesson are doing. Now, I would caution you to view, if you view your blog as your source of giving away free, I don't think that's going to cut it for a variety of reasons. I think the blog can be good for adding context and flavor and personality and adding to that free experience, but I don't think that should be the heart of it for a variety of reasons. Blogs are kind of transitory and topical. They don't hold up that well in search, and they don't, to me, get at the essence of free the way, say, giving away an ebook or an iPhone app, or some combination of the two would work. Now, of course, I've employed a lot of these tactics at johnnyerp.com, and you can check more of it out there. But what it does is it creates a lot of visibility, and it creates a lot of data that gives me leads that I can pursue. But a lot of times it turns around on you, and you create free, and you build the trust, and the leads start coming to you. And that's the experience of being a trusted advisor. And that's sort of at the upper echelon of how sales are conducted these days. Now, that may not close the sale for you, but it might get your foot in the door where you can actively compete and start making a difference. Of course, once you're there, then there's more you have to do to establish credibility through customer case studies and references and peer groups and speaking at conferences and all those things. And I've covered some of those in other videos, and I'll continue to do so. With that, that's John Reed of johnnyerp.com, wishing you luck in your SAP Solutions business.